Chapter 1 of Ruggles of Red Gap. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Carol Pelster. Ruggles of Red Gap by Harry Leon Wilson. Chapter 1. At 6:30 in our Paris apartment, I had finished the Honorable George, performing those final touches that make the difference between a man well turned out and a man merely dressed. In the main, I was not dissatisfied. His dress waistcoats, it is true, no longer permit the inhalation of anything like a full breath, and his collars clasp too closely. I have always held that a collar may provide quite ample room for the throat without sacrifice of smartness, if the depth be at least 2 1/4 inches. And it is no secret to either the Honorable George or our intimates that I have never approved his fashion of beard, a reddish, enveloping, brush-like affair, never nicely enough trimmed. I prefer, indeed, no beard at all, but he stubbornly refuses to shave, possessing a difficult chin. Still, I repeat, he was not nearly impossible as he now left my hands. "Dining with the Americans," he remarked, as I conveyed the hat, gloves, and stick to him in their proper order. "Yes, sir," I replied. "And might I suggest, sir, that your choice be a grilled undercut, or something simple, bearing in mind the undoubted effects of shellfish upon one's complexion?" The hard truth is that after even a very little lobster, the Honorable George has a way of coming out in spots. A single oyster patty, too, will often spot him quite all over. "What cheek! Decide that for myself," he retorted, with a lame effort at dignity which he was unable to sustain. His eyes fell from mine. "Besides, I'm almost quite certain that the last time it was the melon. Wretched things, melons." Then, as if to divert me, he rather fussily refused the correct evening stick I had chosen for him, and seized a knobby bit of thornwood suitable only for moor and upland work, and brazenly quite discarded the gloves. "Feel a silly fool wearing gloves when there's no reason," he exclaimed pettishly. "Quite so, sir," I replied, freezing instantly. "Now, don't play the juggins," he retorted. "Let me be comfortable. And I don't mind telling you, I stand to win 100 quid this very evening." "I dare say," I replied. The sum was more than needed, but I had cause to be thus cynical. "From the American Johnny with the eyebrows," he went on with a quite pathetic enthusiasm. "We're to play their American game of poker, drawing poker, as they call it. I've watched them play for near a fortnight. It's beastly simple. One has only to know when to bluff. 100 pounds, yes, sir. And if one loses—" He flashed me a look so deucedly queer that it fair chilled me. "I fancy you'll be even more interested than I, if I lose," he remarked in tones of a curious evenness that were somehow rather deadly. The words seemed pregnant with meaning. But before I could weigh them, I heard him noisily descending the stairs. It was only then I recalled having noticed that he had not changed to his varnished boots, having still on his feet the doggish and battered pair he most favored. It was a trick of his to evade me with them. I did for them each day all that human boot cream could do. But they were things no sensitive gentleman would endure with evening dress. I was glad to reflect that doubtless only Americans would observe them. So began the final hours of a 14th of July in Paris that must ever be memorable, my own birth.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?